Well, good evening, everybody. This is Dave Little back on the channel and coming to you live from the Dave Cave with a few updates on Galacticon and all the other happenings in the Heartland Championship Wrestling these days. Hello, Salvador, America. Welcome to the channel. Not sure what I'm going to do tonight. I might play a few matches. I might just talk about Galacticon. We'll see what happens as folks wander through. Referee James Lawrence III is here. So we will start with, we'll just go through things sort of chronologically with action that began on actually Thursday night. Now Galacticon began Thursday, but I opted to stay behind in Madison, Wisconsin on Thursday night because at the local minor league broadcast, or the local minor league team, the Madison Mallards, an independent Northwoods League team, had a special guest appearance by none other than Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was here in Madison on Thursday night, so I opted to stay here in town Thursday night and come to and hold on and go to the ball game. Wonderful ball game. Waited an hour and a half in line to see Kurt Angle at the ball game and enjoyed that very much. Kurt Angle was very nice, very cordial. And I had him sign his Tregos Thez Hall of Fame card. And interestingly, I asked Kurt if he had signed any of those, and he said when they first came out that he signed 20 of them for the Hall of Fame. But this was the first time he had ever been asked to sign one of the Tregos Thez cards, the Filsinger game cards, in an autograph signing. So he was very cordial about that. And when I told him so he signed Kurt Angle, WWE Hall of Fame 2017. And when I told him I was headed to Iowa, he grabbed the card back and he grabbed the Sharpie back and he added in the lower corner here, Gable Hall of Fame 2015. So yeah, had a good time on Thursday night with the Madison Mallards game and with the Kurt Angle autograph session. Then Friday morning, I got up and I headed down to Iowa, 3 hours from door to door, to the Galacticon / Tregos Thez Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It was actually a full weekend at the Hall of Fame Museum. The museum is in a little town called Waterloo, Iowa, which is a fairly nondescript little town other than having a National Wrestling Hall of Fame. And within the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, there is a dedicated wing to professional wrestling called the Tregos Thez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, located inside the Dan Gable National Wrestling Museum. 2 years ago when I went, I got to meet Dan Gable and also another legendary college wrestling coach by the name of Jim Miller. Jim Miller coached at Iowa State while Dan Gable coached at Iowa. Did not meet Dan Gable this year, but Jim Miller was there and he was in all of his glory. An unfortunate incident happened on Thursday night while I was away, or before I had gotten there. Apparently at the restaurant Thursday evening, there's a bar and restaurant that they go to. Jerry Briscoe, the president of the Tregos Thez Hall of Fame, got ill Thursday night at the restaurant and had to be taken to the hospital. And he was hospitalized Thursday night, all day Friday, and into Saturday. Apparently it was just dehydration, and he got better and made it out to the Hall of Fame induction on Saturday night. So it was good to see Jerry back in action. So that was the beginning of the day on Friday. Another incident that was very nearly that very nearly also wound up in unexpected hospital stay. And this is a funny story. My good friend Kevin Butcher, who comes onto the chat here sometimes, his chat nickname is Ultimate Wildcat Fan. Kevin is a big University of Kentucky fan, and he apparently made a mistake at the first meet and greet session when Haku came in. And as you all know, Haku is quite potentially the baddest human being that ever lived, but at the same time, a very mild-mannered gentleman. And I saw Haku on Friday and on Saturday, and indeed he looks great. But when Kevin Butcher saw him sitting at one of his at his display table, Butcher turned to one of the other guys and pointed over at Haku and said, "Boy, there's Haku, and he looks like he's in good enough shape to still kill somebody." And Haku took great offense at this. That he didn't hear what was said, but he just saw Butcher across the room pointing at him. And he called Butcher over to his table and he says, "Why are you pointing at me? And why are you not coming to shake my hand?" And so Haku was very intimidating, and Butcher immediately apologized and said, I'm very sorry, sir. I recognize that was rude, but I was just telling my buddy here that you look great and you look like you're in good enough shape to kill somebody. And Haku said to him, "Would you like me to kill you?" So we almost lost Kevin Butcher at the hands of Haku after that little faux pas. But a good time was had by all. We all had a good laugh about it, and apparently Kevin was able to mend fences with Haku and come home with all of his arms and legs intact. So it was fun to see. It was fun to hear that story from Kevin Butcher. Friday morning started some tournaments, and the very first tournament of the day is the Canada Cup, which is put on by Mike Fortune, aka Mike Delve-Ketty, if you see him on Facebook. Good dude, former professional wrestler out of Canada, stands a good 6'5", 280, and just a very nice guy and a very knowledgeable wrestling fan, and he always puts on a Canada Cup. Now, the Canada Cup uses Champions of the Galaxy cards, and I do not play Champions of the Galaxy, and I couldn't tell you any of the characters in Champions of the Galaxy, but they're randomly assigned, and so I got a Champions of the Galaxy card. I believe his name was Archon or something like that, and I ended up winning the entire Canada Cup. And I didn't win a cup, but I did win a Canada shot glass, courtesy of Mike Fortune for winning the Canada Cup. And winning the Canada Cup also qualified me for the Galacticon final tournament for the Galactic Cup, which took place this morning, and so we'll get to that later. So I won the Canada Cup. I also got into the Legends tournament, had a good run in the Legends tournament with Nick Bockwinkel before Bockwinkel lost in, I believe, the semifinals against Antonino Roca. And so Bockwinkel is my Texas champion, my Pro Wrestling Mid-America champion, and he will now have to face Roca for the championship as a result of that victory. The winner of the Legends tournament was Vader, and that will earn Vader a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in here in the Heartland. So Vader will face Ric Flair for the title. Nick Bockwinkel will defend the Texas title against Antonino Roca. The other big highlight was the receipt of the brand new Tragos Thez Hall of Fame set, and I have that set here to show you. A lot of good cards here. Here's Handsome Jimmy Valiant, who was not part of the Trago set, but he was the Galacticon limited edition card. And Jimmy was actually in attendance. Still has that long, long hair and the big, long, scruffy beard. And still getting around pretty well. He was the limited edition Galacticon card. Jim Ross. Jim Ross not in attendance tonight, but was featured in the Hall of Fame set. And looks like a neat card to put to use. It comes into play when the match reaches 5 total fatigue tokens. And then there's a variety of things that Jim Ross can say that will influence the course of the match. So that will be a fun card to use. Overall, I really like this set. This is the Great Malenko, father of Dean Malenko and Joe Malenko. The Great Malenko, very well known as a wrestling trainer, also had a successful wrestling career. And the Joe Malenko was there in attendance this weekend, aka Jody Simon. And Jody Simon gave a nice speech at the Hall of Fame ceremony last night, honoring his father, the great Professor Boris Malenko. Also in the set, one of the old timers by the name of Farmer Burns. Where is Farmer Burns? Here's Farmer Burns. Farmer Burns out of Iowa, Springfield Township, Iowa. Wrestled over 6,000 matches in his professional career. Another old timer, Stanislaus Sabisco. Stanislaus Sabisco, part of the old time set, out of Poland. And the last of the old timers was Wilbur Snyder, the originator of the abdominal stretch. Enjoyed that card. A card that I'm looking forward to using, Nikita Koloff, new to the official Filsinger set. We've had a Nikita bootleg that has been in action for a while, but it'll be good to get the real Nikita in play. Masa Saito with a nice singles card to add to the collection. And last but not least, the surprise winner of the Tragos Thez tournament was Paul Orndorff. Paul Orndorff won the tournament, victory over Bob Backlund, among others, in the championship round. So Paul Orndorff was the winner of the tournament with all of the Hall of Fame cards. Salvador America can't wait for these cards to arrive. Indeed, they are a very good set. Orndorff with the jumping pile driver +2. There was some controversy over that. Some thought the jumping pile driver should be +3. I myself thought that +2 was appropriate. Orndorff was not a world champion. He certainly was a very entertaining performer and very accomplished, but I think +3 on the jumping pile driver would probably be a little bit over the top in terms of card quality for Orndorff, and he still managed to win the Hall of Fame tournament that took place. Let's see. Got a few autographs to show off. The Tommy Rich autograph. I intended to get Tommy Rich's autograph, but instead I got a picture with him, which I posted to my Facebook page, in the ring at the Impact Pro Wrestling show that took place on Friday night. Enjoyed the Impact Pro Wrestling show. That's really a very high quality independent wrestling organization. I've seen several of their shows now, and they put on a good quality show. In addition to their regular performers, Colt Cabana also made an appearance. Wes Briscoe made an appearance, and then some of the legends of the show were there. and enjoyed that show very much. Tommy Rich wrestled as part of a 6-man tag match, and of course everybody was very honored to sell for Tommy Rich, and he took the pinfall, and after the match invited folks into the ring to get their picture taken with Tommy Rich. And being that he was a former NWA World Champion, I took the opportunity to go up and get that photograph done, and it was a privilege. So enjoyed that very much. Also got an autograph from Bob Roop. Bob Roop looking pretty good. Celebrated his 81st birthday yesterday during the banquet, and they recognized Bob Roop. The favorite autograph and the favorite conversation I had with any of the legends was Les Thatcher. I have been a huge fan of Les Thatcher. I was in Dayton, Ohio for most of my adult life when Les Thatcher was running the Heartland Wrestling Association out of Cincinnati. And that was a tremendous independent wrestling organization. Nigel McGuinness, B.J. Whitmer, Jamie Noble, John Moxley, Rory Fox, Sean Ricker, a.k.a. Eli Drake, a.k.a. L.A. Knight, all came through Heartland Wrestling Association to be trained by Les Thatcher. Jake and Dave Christ, a.k.a. the Irish Airborne, were also mainstays of that promotion. And as I told Les Thatcher, you know, you're in a high school gym with 50 people, and you're watching guys like Nigel McGuinness wrestle every month, and you just have no idea that all independent pro wrestling isn't that quality. I was tremendously spoiled to watch Les Thatcher's Heartland Wrestling Association month after month after month in Cincinnati ceremony. 9 inductees. Hopefully y'all can hear me. And yes, the problem is indeed on my end. We've had some intermittent problems with our internet connectivity here in the Dave Cave. And I do appreciate your patience with that. We need to get some attention to that. These are the honorees from the Hall of Fame. Tom Burke is a wrestling historian who was entered. Boris Malenko, the Trainer Award. Haku, the Frank Gotch Award. Gary Albright, the late Gary Albright, was inducted by his widow. Albright, a tremendous amateur and professional wrestler who died far too soon in the year 2000. Rock Riddle, who is a very frequent contributor to the Thez Tragos Hall of Fame, inducted as the Impact Award. Bill DeMott was given an award, and very famous, very emotional speech by Bill DeMott, also known as Hugh Morris. Bill DeMott lost a daughter to a drunk driver in 2015 and has been tireless in his pursuit of awareness for drunk driving and improved law enforcement for drunk driving around the United States. Gave a very emotional speech about the loss of his daughter and about his work in the crusade against drunk driving. Sarah McMahon, the first female winner of the George Tragos Award for success in mixed martial arts. She was at the next table over, very gracious individual, had her husband and her small son with her, and is still in prime fighting shape, and gave a nice speech. And of course, Les Thatcher, who won the Jack Briscoe Spotlight Award, sort of a Lifetime Achievement Award. Les Thatcher has done it all, from wrestling to training to promoting to commentating, and Les Thatcher can talk your ear off and talked for a long, long time. And Conrad Thompson, the podcaster. Now, this was to me the low point of the ceremony last night, and the low point of the whole weekend. And I will, and Michael Brott is here. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you. For me, the low point of the weekend was Conrad Thompson being inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was introduced by Bruce Pritchard. And Bruce Pritchard gave an introduction to Conrad Thompson that was over half an hour long. And Bruce Pritchard talked about himself for 25 minutes and barely even mentioned Conrad Thompson, because Conrad Thompson's the guy being inducted. And I like Conrad Thompson. And Bruce Pritchard's up there talking about himself. And just on and on and on. Bruce Pritchard this, Bruce Pritchard that. And that was to me really a bad look for Bruce Pritchard, and just a poor representation of himself, putting himself in the spotlight instead of Conrad Thompson, the man being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, I never had an opinion about Bruce Pritchard before last night, one way or the other. I know he's an entertaining guy. I know he's integral to the WWE inner workings, but I was very unhappy and unimpressed by Bruce Pritchard last night in his efforts to steal the show at an event where he was not the one being honored. So, phooey on you. Anyhow, aside from that, great time at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and just a very fun weekend. Michael Brada was there. Kevin Butcher was there. I told the story about Butcher and Haku. Milton comes on the board here as Milton Alexander was there. Sam Luptak was there, among others who frequent the channel, as well as Stu Lowry, Tim Dalton, Chad and Corey Olson from the Uncharted Territory podcast, all about Felsinger Games stuff. So if you get a chance to check that out, Uncharted Territory is the podcast. Of course, Mike Fortune, who does a podcast more on Champions of the Galaxy. And just a good time was had by all. And last but not least, today was the Galacticon Championship. And I was entered in the Galacticon Championship after having won the Canada Cup. And I picked a guy called Siege. I know nothing about Siege, other than he is Troy's champion. And so Troy recommended that I give Siege a try, and he looked like he had a pretty good card. I lost in the first round to Mike Fortune. And Mike went on to the finals, where he lost to Eric Konieczki. Eric Konieczki, great guy, winner of the Galactic Cup this year. I love Eric. He is local to Iowa. He is also the developer of the Go Fight Pal wrestling tabletop game. So if you've ever played Go Fight Pal, you can thank Eric Konieczki for that. And Eric is your Galactic Cup winner for 2023. All right. Yeah, I've had one little interruption in the broadcast, and it's getting up on 9 o'clock, and I'm not going to roll any live matches here tonight, but I will thank you all for tuning in and checking things out. Salvador America, Michael Brada, Neil Lau, referee James Lawrence III, and I believe that is everybody. So that's our Galacticon recap. And I just wanted to get on and talk about what a good time I had and how great it is to rub elbows with some of the greats of the sport. Bob Roop, Les Thatcher, I also picked up an autograph from Bill Eadie, a.k.a. Mass Superstar, a.k.a. Demolition Axe. He was fun to chat with. So that was a good time had by all. And thank you all for dropping by tonight. And go in peace. And I will probably not be on the channel next weekend because it is Play.com. I'll be out in Denver with Keith Avalone and the Play.com crew enjoying that. So just wanted to catch up with the channel and give you all a few updates. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Be safe in the week to come. And from the Dave Cave, this is Dave Little signing off. Great to see you as well, Micah. And Michael, enjoyed having dinner with Michael last night. And that is our stream, and I am out of here.